Now, Chitty Chatty Meg, you're wondering if the lions in the Mara eat more often than the ones do here in the sands. I would actually say yes to that answer, purely just because of the abundance of game that's around at the moment with the migration happening. So the massive herds of wildebeest, the big herds of zebra, warthogs and things that are around too. And of course the large herds of buffalo that are in that area for most of the year. I think so. I think that there's more opportunity. They might not have as much coverage if you think about it in terms of little shrubs. There's definitely a woody population of trees around here, which does help for hunting, but they've got the tall grass to hunt in Kenya, so they can completely conceal themselves. And lions are specialists at creeping in long grass. They actually don't need very much to cover themselves. If you look at the pictures from yesterday, a whole lot of you did take some really great screenshots and you shared them with all of us from our sighting on the sunset safari, and they were just lying in a very short amount of grass and they completely disappeared. So it is very easy for them. Out here it's tough. I mean, look at these girls. They've been walking all night. You saw how excited they were when they heard the kudu barking. They got up and they were, just about running in that direction. And just at the moment, there doesn't seem to be too much game around. We've seen lots of zebra tracks everywhere, but I haven't seen any zebra, barring the two we had a brief visual of yesterday afternoon. So I don't know where they are. So until the buffalo come back, these lions are going to have a tough time. But she's excited by something. Something has definitely caught her attention. And when hunts happen, it's not necessarily something that happens within 5 minutes. It can take hours and hours of preparation. Now, John, you've just asked, what is she looking at? Your guess is as good as mine. I have absolutely no idea. Like I said, we're not too far away from where we saw the warthogs. If you were watching earlier, they were just on the other side of the drainage. So she could have spotted them quite far off. Maybe there's a duiker or a steenbok or a group of impala also moving around. There could be a number of different things that she has spotted. But she's not necessarily making a move just yet. She's just observing. Not so eyelids of a lion. I think it's definitely beautiful, and it's not just there to make them look gorgeous. Of course, there's a special function for that, and you see it with kudu as well, and the antelope that like to live in the thicker bush, is that they have those white markings on their faces, and that white underneath the eyes actually helps bounce light straight back in, so they can see a little slightly better. But look how she's constantly shuffling herself. I love the movement that they do, tucking her tail underneath her bum, searching. Look at her, it's so funny to see her do that. Come on, girl, make a move. She has to be careful, of course, and that's probably why she's so hesitant to get up and race on over, because they've now been searching for the entire evening, and we know that they were moving during the day yesterday, because they ended up on Buffelshoek, and then they were found in the afternoon, quite early in the afternoon, on Torchwood. So they've been busy, so they must be hungry. So if she makes a sudden move, and gives away her position, that'll be another potential hunt foiled, and she'll have to keep waiting until later on today, because they're bound to have a siesta. They can't just keep going for ages. See there how she's gone down? Now she's gone right. Hunger is getting to me. Obviously whatever she's spotted is perhaps moving closer, but she's going to go off and give it a bash. Let's see where she goes now. She's sneaking right behind that car. Look at that. Actually, she looks like she might be using the car as coverage. Watch her. Let's see if she's going to sneak out. So that's Andrew's car there. Let's see if she's going to pop out right behind it. And I've had lions do this before. It's actually not uncommon, because we've been interacting with these big cats for such a long time in the Greater Kruger National Park. They're very comfortable around our cars. I've had a lioness from the Southern Prides try and stalk a serval, and she used my car as leverage. She didn't catch the serval, thankfully. She just chased it around. Where have you gone? I can't see her just yet. She's definitely there. I've just heard some squirrels also chirping off in the distance. I wonder if there's a squirrel that's sitting at the top of a tree and has maybe spotted these lions moving around. It's just like the monkeys. They've also got relatively good eyesight. I'm trying to see if I can see her from underneath the car, but I don't know where she is. There she is. She did come right past the car too. Sneaky girl. Right, I think we'll sit with these lions for a little bit long, not for a little bit longer, for as long as we can, of course, and see what they get up to. But I'm going to send you back across to Ali to see how her herd of elephants are doing.
Well, they've decided to leave the water, and it seems like they're off on a feeding bout. But this male is very insistent with the half-trunk female. So he's been pushing her around and moving, and I don't think she's too happy with everything that he's been doing, but he's been quite protective. Now, what are you up to, young boy? So they are all slowly starting to move into the other twin dam. So the other dam that's behind the dam wall. And I wonder if perhaps they're going to go down there and start feeding, because there's a lot of grass down there that is a lot softer. Hello, boy. What you doing? We've got this young bull that's approached us now all the way from the right, and I think he's a bit upset, maybe because he got pushed away from that herd. So we're just going to keep an eye on him. He's been feeding off of marula and bushes and everything and everywhere else around us. I'm going to give you the back to you guys just so that we can keep an eye on him, as he's busy eating now. Shame. I think maybe your lack of tusk, and you're a bit small still to be able to compete for beautiful girls. Good breakfast. I am so happy the Ellies have returned to Djuma. Now, you see there on the side of his face, normally had the tusk had been broken off, we would still see a bit of it, or at least some bulge, something that would indicate that there was a tusk there to begin with. However, I don't think that was the case. It's pretty flat on that side, so likely this Ellie was born with just one tusk, and sometimes that's pretty much just due to genetics. So having bigger or smaller tusks or just one is a genetic component of the elephant's DNA. Very powerful trunk. And it's always amazing, you'll see that they'll wrap their trunk around the grass and they will... Okay, well, you didn't do it now because you were greedy. Oh, there we go. And then they use their trunk almost like a ledge. And they place things there, they grab them with the tip of the trunk and put them back in their mouth. There we go, there's a wrapping around. Whoop. And then pulling all the yummy leaves and putting them in their mouth. He's pretty much finished this tree. Not too much left now that the elephant has been around. So it's interesting. I reckon had we not seen this, because he hasn't damaged the tree all too much, I would have just said that the tree has lost its leaves to winter and not to an elephant. Very, very sneaky boy. I think maybe that's not the best area to look for. Oh, there we go. Found more yummy leaves, the ones at the top, so somebody seems quite intent on finishing off this terminalia. You see just how rough their skin is, and of course their very long eyelashes to protect their eyes. You are a very beautiful boy. Alright, in Texas, you're wondering if all elephants get tusks. Well, they should. Not having a tusk is probably just a genetic defect or a recessive gene, because they all should have tusks. However, it seems like it's been passed on more frequently due to some poaching. Where are you gonna go now? We were here first. Oh, having a good old scratch against the tree. Well, of course, it must be quite hard for you to be able to scratch your back if you've got, if your trunk doesn't reach all the way up there. So we use the branches of the trees. Very clever. Janine, you're wondering if having just one tusk, if it's a big disadvantage for a male elephant. Well, it can be. We saw earlier on when he was fighting the other male that the other one seemed to have a bit more of a grip on him because he had two tusks to push down with. So I think it can be a disadvantage, especially as they start trying to fight each other for dominance rights and to mate with females. However, having said this, sometimes elephants with one tusk get massive ones, and that gives them also an advantage perhaps over another elephant that has got two smaller tusks. So I think it's situation dependent. I would say in general terms, if we look at an elephant with this type of one tusk, then I think it does hinder maybe his chances of being successful more often when he competes with other big males. I think also in this case he didn't stand too much of a chance because he is quite smaller than the other bull that he was facing. Beautiful. How impressive is that very thick skin and those ears? Full of wrinkles. Very powerful. Jamie, you're wondering what the difference is between Asian elephants and African elephants. Well, the African elephants are slightly bigger. That's one of their main differences. And also their ears are much bigger. So the ear of the African elephants, funny enough, people laugh and they say they've got the shape of Africa. So that's a good way of distinguishing them. But also they tend to be a bit more temperamental. So with the African elephants, you won't see them as often as, for example, if you've ever seen the Asian elephants, they can be somewhat domesticated and people spend a lot of time with them and they use them often for manual labor in some areas of Asia. Our African elephants don't take too well to being told what to do. So I would say those three things just to look for, just behavior, the size of the ears, and just general size and body shape. Also, the Asian elephants, they seem to have funny pigmentation or lack of pigmentation color on their foreheads, and they get like this pinkish tinge in their forehead, which our African elephants don't over here. I can hear him crushing through some bark now. John, you're wondering why elephants' digestive system is so poor. I would imagine that it's because of an evolutionary thing, so that it's evolved to be that way. The same as rhinos and zebras, so they'll have to eat a bit more to be able to sustain their weight because they don't process everything that they eat. Now, why would have they evolved in that particular situation and not become ruminants like some of the other creatures? Well, I'm not too sure about the reasons for that. But should their body... Hey. Right, seems like the lionesses have started moving around and we're going to see what this bull gets up to. So let's go over to Taylor and spend some time with some beautiful cats.
We are going to try, so it seems as though the lions were looking at the giraffe that I was telling you about. Now there's a lion just here. Just trying to get into a spot where we can see everything that's going on. You stay over there, girl. Let's pop our heads here. They are hungry. They are very lean. They're desperately looking for something to eat, but I think that they've realized that they are not going to win with that giraffe, and they shouldn't spend all of their time and all of their energy in trying to catch something that they're not necessarily experts at catching. Now, giraffe are not an easy animal to take down, and especially if you've never taken down a giraffe before, you really have to learn how to do this type of thing. There's definitely a technique about it, and there's lions in Namibia which they follow, and they have studied them and they have worked out how to catch giraffe successfully almost every single time that they make an attempt. It's the same thing as you see lions that specialize in hunting elephants in, for example, in Zimbabwe. They're right here at the car. Hello, girl. But you can see Their ribs just starting to show now. They're looking very lean. They're not going to starve though. These cats, the way that their digestive system is of course designed, is that they can go long periods without a meal. Now, even if they were to catch something small like a warthog, it wouldn't be a meal wasted. Yes, it's not going to fill their bellies, and they probably won't go into a food coma, but it will just sort of fill up those fat reserves, or the energy reserves, sorry, just to keep them going. Otherwise, as the days pass them, they're going to start using vital fat resources, which they don't want to do. They don't want to have to tap into those. They'd rather just keep topping them up and have a full belly every a few days or so, and then they'll be okay. But it seems as though the whole pride is here. I've seen now all 5 lionesses are about, and the little ones in and amongst these thickets. I wonder what they're going to do now, if they aren't going to just rest here. You can see big yawns, but I think they're slightly disappointed that they did not get a meal, which is very, very sad. There's the other girl just coming past now. Now, Ashes One, you're wondering what is the largest pride of lions that I've seen? The southern pride is pretty big. I'm trying to think. Oh no, I speak nonsense now. The southern pride is quite large now. I think when I saw them, there were 5 lionesses. There were a couple of cubs. I forget how big they were. But I have seen the shish pride in Kruger, around Satara area. So I have seen them. I don't know how many members are in that pride, but I did see lots and lots of lions just laying about. But there were definitely way more than about 10 or 15 of them. There was a whole bunch of lions. And then throughout the years, I've seen quite large prides in Kruger as I was younger, but I don't really remember too well. I just remember the sightings, and I wasn't a guide back then. And so I wasn't paying attention like I pay attention now. There's a pride, though. I think they're known as the mountain pride that hangs around Singita, Lobombo. And that's a huge pride. That's a super pride of lions. I think at one point they had over 35 lions. There's also a white lion that hangs around, and I'd like to see them. That would be an amazing pride to see. But I'm thinking in the sands, it's probably the southern pride, probably the biggest pride that I have seen with the Charleston boys. Let's try and figure out how we're going to get another spot in here. Also, I don't know where all the guides have gone. Everyone's just disappeared now. This is going to be tricky. There's one lioness still coming through there. I'm just trying to find a gap, because it's quite difficult to view them. They've tucked themselves in this sort of quarry thicket. Let's poke our nose here. Find a gap. Oh, hang on, my favorite little girl. I've just seen her. Hi, Lal Precious. There she is. How's that view? Can you see that little lion just there? Oh, there we go. We've got the gap between the trees. She is, honestly, she's the cutest little girl I've ever seen. This is the one that's got the amber-colored eyes, and she used to have a floppy ear. She was attacked by mange severely when, unfortunately, there was about some mange that was going around in the Nkuhuma Pride, but they all seem to be very healthy now, and they've kicked that, which is great. But she didn't look great at all for the first couple of months of her life. But now she's starting to look slightly better, and it was this left ear that was actually floppy. Hello, girl. You are so precious, aren't you? She has got beautiful eyes. Here comes, you can just see the shadow of another lion looking up, going, hello. No, not interested? Okay. And that's another thing that I love to see, is that the cubs never get as much attention as they did when they were younger. It's like the novelty sort of wears off with the adults, and they say, all right, thank goodness, no more harassing, no more trying to suckle, none of that nonsense goes on anymore. And I wonder if she's going to get up and go and join the rest. Give us a yawn? Oh, just a little one. She's just sitting out on her own. The others are just ahead of her. Hello, little one. I think if I go further forward, I can get you actually maybe quite a nice gap of the rest of the pride. Let's try that. We'll just do lots of repositioning, because it's a really tough gap now. And try and look back into there, but it's not going to be the cleanest view of the pride we've had, but we have to make do. I think they're actually going to rest up here for most of the day now. There's some nice shade. It is cool because it's close to the drainage system. But I think that this is the end of the Nkuhuma's hunt, unless something walks towards them. And that could definitely happen during the day. You could have a group of impala move through here. Perhaps those warthogs cross the drainage system and come on this way. Or maybe a buffalo heading towards Vuyatela Dam will use this route. And that'll be a route where they will meet great danger in the form of lions. There goes the little one, going to join her siblings. There we go. All cuddling up now, giving each other grooming sessions. I see that's very important. Now, Ashes one, you're wondering if lions have a sort of home to go back to, or if they just sleep anywhere. They really do just sort of sleep anywhere, unless it's a lioness and she has a den site. If she has got cubs, then she'll return to the same spot, but that den site also changes every so often. But now that these cubs are sub-adults, they move around, they travel great distances. You see, the lionesses don't mark a territory. It's the males that mark and defend territories. The girls sort of just have a home range, so they move around within an area. They also don't want to go in, travel too far out of the area that they've chosen to live in, because they will have altercations with other prides of lions. They don't tolerate each other at all, even the girls. So they do hang around you. So they go into the Manuleti. They spend quite a bit of the summer months in the Manuleti. They spend time in Buffelshoek, Torchwood, Djuma, Simbambili, Arathusa, around sort of here. Yes. Look how well equipped they are. They're able to use their tongues quite nicely now, grooming. And oh hi Bacon, you said that they are growing up so quickly. They definitely are. Even just as we watch them groom, I remember the days where they didn't want to do any grooming themselves, and Mom had to give them a bath. And now they do it all. They help groom each other. They're not little cubs anymore. They're turned into these lovely little lions. They are looking a little bit scruffy though. It doesn't look like they've had a good brush for quite some time. But I suppose that's what happens when you've spent most of yesterday afternoon and pretty much the entire morning searching for something to eat. Your coat probably does get a bit scruffy, but they'll sort that out. There we go. Clean those ears. Clean your siblings' ears. Get those places that are hard to reach. Now the only thing is that it's going to become quite tricky here, and there are some other guides that would like to view lions, so I don't think we're going to be able to stay as long as we like, because for everybody to get a decent view is going to become virtually impossible now. And we have got one of the good spots, so we'll sit here for a couple more minutes and then we will move out and give the other guides a chance. But what we're going to do now is we're just going to have a chat to Taxon and see if he can't get a view of these lions and if we can stay a bit longer. I'm going to send you across to Ali now. She's had great luck with the elephants today. I wonder what else is going to come her way.
Well, the elephants decided to carry on and they crossed our southern boundary, so we left them around. The big male was still following the female. And we've decided to come onto the next dam, Treehouse Dam, see if perhaps there's anything around here, or to see if maybe we could pick up on any tracks for any of our resident leopards. Seems like no luck yet. So we're just going to go on top of the dam wall, see if there's anything else around here. Perhaps anything we have missed. Although, not really. Seems like it's a very quiet day around this dam. Funny how it sometimes works. The Treen dams that was not too far from here was also very busy, and we even had some zebras while we were off air that came around, but then they went quickly back to Little Gowrie. So we couldn't show them to you guys, but one of them seemed to be pregnant, so hopefully tiny little new zebra on the way sometime soon. Right, I think maybe let's go this way. This road seems to be liked by all the leopards around, so maybe we'll pick up on some tracks. Because the other day, just on this road, we had tracks for Shongile, Hosanna, and Tingana, all of them on the same morning, which was very crazy, to be honest. So we'll carry on checking. It seems like the sun has started to shine very nice and bright right now. Maybe that will make the lions stay put and not carry on their north direction, and hopefully they'll be around for this afternoon's drive. That would be very nice. Now, always when you drive around certain roads, you look on the trees. Teresa NYC, you're wondering if the lions are the most popular animal to see during the winter time. Well, I think lions and leopards you said. Sorry, I didn't hear the leopard part. But yes, I think they are, in general, it doesn't matter what time of the year, they are some of the most popular animals to see on safari. So if there are a lot of people around us, then we are forced to obviously let all of the other people that want to have a look at them come and have a look at them, because we have to be fair, because sometimes they'll do it for us and then we will do it for them. So I think lions and leopards and elephants as well, they're very, very popular when you come out on safari, because they are obviously some of the hardest ones to see, and everybody wants to see them. And I mean, they are such stunning creatures that I think we all understand why everyone wants to see them. Right, now some of the guys called in some lion tracks earlier on somewhere along this road, but I wonder if they were actually here, if it was actually lions, because I don't see anything here. Let's see, maybe we'll get lucky with something else around the road. I think it's been quite a wonderful morning already. Very nice and lovely Sunday stroll we've had, or Sunday bumble. Let's see. Let me just go around this road. See if perhaps, and if not, then I think maybe Seb, we should go check that new road, because it seems like slowly becoming Shadow's new favorite spot. So worth going and having a look over there. So I think whatever it is that it was here, it's been squashed, as I see lots of vehicle tracks. But we'll keep an eye out, see if perhaps we can see anything. I am hoping little Shangile will be up in a marula or on top of a termite mound somewhere. Kali, you're wondering if caracals have ever been seen in the Kruger. Well, they're very hard to spot, but I think Taylor actually a few months ago, she had a caracal while she was live, and that was amazing. I've never seen a caracal in this area. I've never seen a caracal in the wild. It's one of those creatures that I really want to see, yet I haven't managed to do so yet. So there is a possibility of them being around here, and there are certain signs for them being around. And while we were at I used to work at Simbambili, which is a reserve that's just on the south of Djuma, and there was one of the guys that saw caracal twice just driving during the night, which was very lucky. So they are around, they're just very hard to see, unlike this beautiful impala that are going to cross the road in front of us. Caracals are a bit shyer. Alright, I wonder if this is the tracks that they were mentioning. Let's see. Yeah. So we have got some... Oh, but they've squashed them again. Come on, guys. Sorry, I would show them to you, but the tracks have been squashed, so I could only see just a little toe of them moving around, but it seemed there were tracks for one male going in this direction. So I think maybe let's go have a look around this road. You never know, perhaps we'll get lucky with something around here, although I think maybe these are the tracks that crossed that Taylor had earlier on. Alright, talking about lions and this morning, let's go over to Taylor and see what she is going to do next.
We keep bumping into all sorts of animals. There's actually a lot of game around here, and hidden in and amongst the long grass and the orange leaves are some zebra. There's impala, there's 2 giraffe around here. We're probably about, I would say, 250 meters from where those lions were sleeping, and these zebra have no idea that those lions are anywhere nearby. So what I'm hoping happens is that their route is going to be, like I said earlier, towards Vuyatela Dam, because from where we are now, that's the closest source of water. I don't know how much water is in Tamboti Dam, which is on Buffels Hook, but they could also go there. And if they go there, those lions might spot them because they're up on the edge of that drainage line, so they're quite high up. But it would be great if these zebra went in that direction, just because I can see that those girls are hungry. They really, really are looking like they need a meal, but I'm sure that hunger will drive them to successfully catching something eventually. Isn't that a lovely contrast? Black and white against the green and the orange. It is really beautiful. Hopefully they pop their heads out. They're a bit shy. There's just 3 of them. I can't see any more, so I don't think it's the McCurdy-Hurdy. We haven't seen them for quite some time. Let's see if we've got stallions, if we've got mares. It's always quite difficult, of course, to be able to tell the difference when they are hiding like that. Let me see if I go up a little bit further. If I go back. Except Rusty doesn't like to go into reverse. Yes, there's a gap. That's better. Now we can at least see its head, and then hopefully the other one will walk right in this direction, and we'll get a nice view of them. But this light is gorgeous, and it's starting to warm up nicely. I think it's going to be a beautiful day in the Sabi sand, or in the northern section. At least all the clouds are burning away, and hopefully they will be lured closer towards the water. But stunning nonetheless. They're very quiet though. You can see they're all looking in every direction. Perhaps they know that there's something going on. Remember when that giraffe was running around, we didn't get to see it. The giraffe was running through the bushes, and you could hear quite a bit of cracking that there was being created as it was obviously bumping over trees. The zebra may have heard it too, so I suppose there is a chance that they know something is up, but they don't seem to be too bothered just yet. A couple of drongo also move flying around them. They're quite noisy as they're eating today. Can you hear that? Hear them tearing up the grass? All the birds are chirping. I can hear the turtle doves. I can hear the drongos definitely calling. I think there was a black-headed oriole at one point too. Oh, and here the giraffe are now joining the party. Hello, giraffe, thank you. Did you get chased by lions? Now, I don't know if it was one of these that got chased by lions, but it looks like there's 2 males here. One youngster, just in the front, and an older bull towards the back. Here they are. Hello, guys. You're moving right out of that area. You can see the size difference as well now, how much older the one at the back is. He's also a lot more muscly. Just staring at us, making sure we're not a lion, trying to eat them. It must be quite nerve-wracking though, having an encounter like that, and then having to just go about your day like, oh no, nothing happened. I didn't have a near-death experience. I must have these encounters with the animals quite often. But there we go. I'd feel a lot safer if I had giraffe around me and the zebras and impala. There's even an impala down there crossing the road. Now, Alaramo, you said that you feel like you are in a... No, I didn't actually hear the whole thing. Sorry, Alice, please can I have it again? I didn't hear that question properly. I don't know why I started saying... Oh, there we go. A well-made diorama at the museum. Sorry, I didn't hear the well-made part, and then I thought maybe that's a vital word that I'm going to be missing. It is. It's so beautiful out here today, and it's just amazing how you can drive and drive and drive, and there goes a squirrel too. There's lots of animals around here, and not see anything, because that's exactly what we have been doing. Just occasionally seeing the odd impala, the warthogs, you know, we had earlier, and then you find one group of animals, and the next minute everything is around. The zebra actually moving off in the direction now of the giraffe. Let's see if we can get another view of them. We'll go up a bit further. Like I said, I'd feel safe now having the giraffe, having the zebra, and having the pilo. And all 3 of these animals have got amazing eyesight. So if I were all of you, I'd stick together. Alright. We're going to just quickly do a repositioning to see what else is happening out here in the bush. Perhaps there's another species of animal we haven't seen just yet. Ali seems to be doing some tracking, and she's moved on from tracking leopards to tracking lions.
Well, sort of not really tracking lions anymore, because we know how this story ends and where it ends, but I just thought it would be quite interesting to give you guys a general update. So you see over here, these are the lion tracks, and I'm just going to jump off quickly. So we've been following the tracks for that male that we had earlier, and he was walking out, but I think whoever it was either gave up too quickly or something happened, because now we've got tracks for the entire pride. So this is why we're not going to carry on tracking, because we know where they go off to. So you see, we've got this beautiful track here all the way around here. So we've got the 1, 2, 3 lobes, and of course 1, 2, 3, and the 4 toes. And now, because the soil is very, very sandy, you can almost see the claw marks right here on the top. So you see this little, like, almost a little bit here. And this only happens, or you only see them when you're looking for lions and leopards and certain specific types of soil where it is just very, very, very sandy, like the one that we've got here. But what's quite interesting is, obviously, we've had the tracks of the male coming here, and I'm sure one of the males joined up with the pride during the night. And all the tracks, and now we've got one track here, one here, one here, one here, and they move on. But what is interesting is this is where they have been sleeping, or this is where they decided to rest during the night. Now, if you look over here, just below this one, you see that everything seems to be smooth, as well as here and as here. So this is where a lion has been lying down during the night. Unfortunately, it's been squashed a little bit by the track of the vehicle, but it's very, very nice to see how they've been spending their night, and where we can tell, oh, there's been a lion sleeping around here, or they've been doing this and everything else. And if we go slightly forward, we can see more tracks here, and a lot of like little lines on the grass like this. This is the hair of the lion that we can see on the sand, and then another one has been sleeping around here, and there's been another one further ahead, and then the tracks going up and down when they started to move around. So I'm not going to follow these tracks because we already know where the Nkuhumas are, but I think they've done quite an interesting turnaround. So if I can just draw Djuma here, just to give you guys a bit of an idea. So let's imagine roughly that this is Djuma. So Taylor had them somewhere around here last night, and I think they've maybe done something along like this, and they carried on, and this is roughly where they were found. So they've covered quite an amazing ground of Djuma, and they've done quite a lot. And I think that male that was around, he came from somewhere else around here, not too sure, joined them around here, and then those are the tracks that we saw that were going on through central and then carried on going north like this. So I think the boy is somewhere around here, and well, we know where the rest of the guys are. So quite an interesting morning, trying to piece together the puzzle of seeing where they have been and where they're going and what they're doing. So I am hoping that, of course, we want them to have a nice meal, but I also kind of want them to stick around just on Djuma so we can have a view of them this afternoon. So that would be quite lovely. And isn't this just wonderful? I love seeing all these lion tracks out the road. I love it, especially when there are so many of them. It's like a feeling of fullness. It's like, yes, lots of lions have been around here. Now, I want to perhaps check one of the other roads, see if perhaps some of the other males went around there. But while we do that, let's go to Taylor, who's managed to find some giraffe.
We're still with the same two that we saw just a moment ago, but they keep hiding in between the bushes. As you can see, we can't get a clear view of them. They're on the move, they're traveling. I don't know where they're going to go, but the two boys are having a grand old time. I think they're going to move as far away from this area as possible, just to not have another encounter with those lions. And you might be able to hear as well as see all those oxpeckers. Sounds like the red-billed oxpeckers from the sound, well, the sound of their cordons. Sound like there's any yellow there. That's something I'd like to see, and I think we'll start to see more of them as we get the return of the buffalo. You can start keeping an eye out for the yellow-billed oxpeckers, which are slightly more rare, not as common. We don't see them every single day, and they sort of socialize in and amongst the rest of the oxpecker species. Let me go forward again. Let me see. They might get a gap. It's starting to open up just slightly now. It's always tough trying to keep up with them. And of course we can't go off-roading for giraffe. I'm going to stop just up here. I'm going to go a little bit further actually, I think, because there's a road up here. And then we might get a better view. And then the other giraffe is just up here, so we'll keep up with the one in front because we know the other fellow is coming here. There's the road, but it's now beautiful and open. Here we go. Oh, finally. That's better. Yes, eat on that small shrub and stay there, please, giraffe. Now I'm also going to turn and have a look and watch the giraffe. Hello. You're looking at me. Your Aussie cones are not particularly straight. Look at that. I love the way that they head down eating, and then standing up completely still, motionless, just watching and listening. Now, Ashes One, you've said the giraffe are so elegant. What would happen if one lost a leg? My goodness, I'm not sure. I don't know if a giraffe could survive with just 3 legs. I have, though. I have seen a young giraffe with a broken leg before. Unfortunately, it eventually passed on, but it lived for a very, very long time. It couldn't keep up with the herd, though, so I felt a bit sorry because it shouldn't have left its mother just yet. It would have actually still been suckling. But it did make do. It was just feeding. The herd actually moved off completely and abandoned it. Obviously, it couldn't keep up with the rest of the group, and that's how nature is. It is quite cruel if you can't keep up, depending on the species of animal and how strong the bond is between the various members of that particular group of animals. They might hang around a bit longer, but with giraffe, they have an interesting social structure, and we talk about it quite often. It's called temporary associations. And basically what happens is they have a bond when they're younger with their mothers, but then they lose that and they go their separate ways as they reach adulthood. So you might not necessarily always see the same females in the same herd. They really just go and do whatever they like. And the same thing goes with the boys. They are wanderers. They move about once they've reached sexual maturity, searching out for cows who are in estrus so that they can mate with them. But these fellas don't seem to be too interested in that. So, Ashwan, I don't know if a giraffe could survive without a leg. It would obviously be quite vulnerable to be taken down by the various predators. You can imagine it would be a lion's dream to come across a giraffe with an injury like that, because it would make it much easier for them to take down. And I know that there's many different tactics that lions will use to try and hunt giraffe, and one of them is to actually chase them into an area where it's maybe a bit rocky, and they can lose their footing quite easily, because as soon as a giraffe has fallen down, because they're ginormous giants, it's difficult for them to stand up quite quickly. They might be graceful on all fours and when they're running and walking, but to try and get up and down from the ground, it proves quite challenging. And of course this would be to the advantage of a lion, and all they've got to do is sit on top of it, especially sit on top of its head, and they'll make it very difficult for it to be able to stand up again. But lions have to be careful. Now that we can see this giraffe clearly, you can see that they're equipped with weapons too. Maybe not the traditional kind of weapons that we see, claws and horns. They've got those ossicones, but it's just the boys that really need them. They swing their heads at each other when they're battling it out for dominance. But those legs are incredible weapons. They are so powerful. And I would not like to be kicked by a giraffe. I don't know if I'd maybe live to tell the tale if I got a proper a kick. Maybe imagine a double barrel from a giraffe. Actually, I don't know if a giraffe could double barrel, but even just one leg is enough. Now, Anna, you're wondering if I've ever seen a serious fight between male giraffe. No, nothing like Sir David Attenborough has seen. Remember, he did that series called Africa, and there was the one episode where he got a proper giraffe fight. He recorded it. That was amazing. No, I've never seen anything like that. I've seen them sparring, and I've seen them get quite rough, but it's still something that I'd love to, of course, have a look at, is to see elephants battling it out properly, and then of course to see giraffe having a battle too. I can't imagine it would be very pleasant to watch though. You know, one thing I have seen which was quite interesting is I've seen 2 buffalo bulls fighting before. That was amazing to see. I can't believe how quick and nimble buffalo actually are when they fight, because they're quite sort of top heavy buffalo. They're like big rugby players, all the muscles in their shoulders. Megan says, Megan in FC seen a proper giraffe fight. Is that correct? Right. Oh my goodness. Megan, my goodness, listen to this. So Megan, who's one of the directors, she says that she's seen this happen before, 2 giraffe bulls fighting, and she actually said that one of the giraffe, all tongue-tied now, actually killed the other. That is exceptionally rare. I don't know many people that have seen anything like that. I think we're at the same herd of impala that Ali had. I just want to draw your attention away from the giraffe, but there's an impala just about to pop out over there, and he's got some scars on his back. The one just to the left, he's just walking behind that shrub. There we go, yeah, those ones. Now, that one on the left-hand side. If you look very carefully, he's got some scars on his back. He'll turn out and follow the rest now, so we'll see him. And I wonder if this is not the same ram that Ali had earlier, where she said that she thought that maybe a leopard or a lion had perhaps tried to attack this fella and it made an escape. everyone's walking together now. The zebra have also come out. Just want to check to see if this impala is the same ram. Maybe Alice, you can confirm when we get a view. No, come on, turn right. Yes, there we go. Now you can see the scars. There it is. They're all walking together though, so I think the lions are going to have a tough time though. So Alice, you've just confirmed that it is the same ram. They're all moving out. Everyone's following the giraffe. The impala are following the giraffe. The zebra have now popped out. The 3 zebra. I think there were stallions too. You can see them just coming here. They're just popping out in front of us. Well, wait, there's one coming down the road. Actually, should I do that for you then, Gert? Maybe that'll be a bit easier. No, don't turn off the road, you silly zebra. Come back. Here he is. He's standing out in the moment. It does look like 3 stallions. And we've seen these, I'm sure we've seen these guys before. I think these are the ones that like to hang around Treehouse Dam. If I'm not mistaken. It could just be 3 other stallions because there's loads and loads of zebra. The populations are quite high in this area. Not to the extent like you see in the Mara. There's definitely not as many of them here. Or they're just in smaller groups, I suppose. But they're very, very determined to move west and well out of the way. So there we go, zebra. You might live to see another day, but keep going, because if those lions get on the move, they will catch up to you. Actually, this is a very beautiful scene. I'm going to turn just slightly to the right. Hopefully the zebra don't run and the giraffe doesn't move either, but they're all standing together just over here. No giraffe. Stay put. There. Now you can also see the size difference between a giraffe and a zebra, and that is actually quite large. Look at that. So a zebra could probably have 2 zebra on top of each other and they could fit right underneath the legs of a giraffe. I think you'd put the size of a zebra around a pony. Maybe slightly bigger. We always say this, around 15 hands or so. Between 14 and 15 hands, something in between. And a giraffe, my goodness, well, the males, they can get quite tall. They can reach up to 5.5 meters. This fella, I don't think is quite there. I think he's just slightly off. Maybe 4.5, closer to 5 meters, somewhere in between. But they are big animals. It'd actually be quite nice if the impala would go over and join the giraffe and the zebra too, so we could see how big they all are. Now, Mita, who is only 8 years old, you're wondering if I've ever seen a giraffe without ossicones. No, I don't believe I have ever seen anything like that. I wouldn't imagine it to be impossible, though, because we see all sorts of deformities out here in the bush. So I think that you could see that. But Mita, that's something that I have not seen just yet. One day. Maybe one day. It's lovely. It's very peaceful out here now. It's quite nice. I love it that we don't see too much wind. Hopefully this means that we aren't going to get any wind this afternoon. Maybe the cold front is finally blown over. And we'll continue with our beautiful days, our fair weather that we normally have in the winter months. Now Sam, who is 9 years old and is watching all the way from the Netherlands. Hello Sam, it's great to have you. You were wondering, how much do giraffe weigh? So it depends, Sam, if it's a boy or a girl giraffe. But a boy giraffe can get quite big, so they can weigh just as much as maybe almost a small car. So they can weigh up to 1.2 tons. That's really, really quite big. I'm just trying to think exactly what I can compare it to. So an elephant can weigh up to 5.5 tons, so they're much larger. And a zebra only weighs about, I wouldn't say that these zebra weigh more than about 300 kilograms. A big stallion, maybe even just slightly less than that. They're not particularly large. So there we go, there's different weights for you. I'm trying to think how much a small car weighs. Gert, how much does a small car weigh? Just over a ton? 700. So even less. So if you took a little beetle or something like that, probably 2 of those would equal the amount of 1 giraffe. Oxpeckers, and off they go. Right, let's go see what else we can find. I think we're going to go and check around Sydney's dam. I'm also going to have to start taking some layers off now. It is quite warm, so I think we'll extend our search a little bit further north, actually go and see what's happening down in the distance. Maybe there's some elephants coming down towards the dam. We're going to go across to Ali now I'm not sure what she's up to, but maybe she's still continuing with her bird challenge.
Well, not quite the bird challenge, but we came into this new road just to see if perhaps Shadow has been around here. We haven't found some tracks yet, but we did manage to find something that's quite interesting. Now, I'm sure the color of the grass is giving it away. Very, very bright colored grass in the sea of yellow and dry grass that we've got. And funny enough, if you look around there, this is the exact same spot where we had the Nkuhumas kill that young zebra a while ago. So it is quite amazing to see that the stomach contents that were found in the zebra that were left by the lions have actually fertilized this ground over here, and the little seeds that were probably still in the zebra's stomach have started growing and pretty much reclaiming this particular area where there seems like there's nothing that's been growing around. Now I want to maybe grab a shoot of green grass just to show you guys how much greener this grass is. Of course, I can't find anything that's going to help me all that much right now. Alright, let me just put it next to this one's over here, and then we can have a bit of a look. Oh well, I should have just grabbed the one next to it. So you see the color difference between the two. And everything that's been growing from where the zebra was killed and where all the stomach contents is of this beautiful green color, and everything else around it. I mean, look at all this grass here. This is all very, very dry. So I'm sure this has actually created the perfect conditions for many little things to start growing. Like we said, we've got the grass, and the misty mornings I'm sure have provided enough moisture and that gets captured in between in here, and that just gets sucked in there for everything to start growing around. So I think it's quite interesting to observe sometimes the bigger picture of what happens at a kill. Not only have we had, it's unfortunate that the zebra died, but it died so that the lions could carry on living. So one thing must die for the other one to start surviving. But also, I don't think we appreciate enough, like, yes, the zebra died, but look how much life is being created from the exact same spot where this particular zebra died. Now we're going to have all this green, and it's going to provide wonderful, more nutritious food for all of the creatures that are around here. Little antelope might come and feed off of it. We'll have the duikers and the steenbok and perhaps even some more zebra. With time, hopefully this will become a bit of a greener patch that will be able to provide all that moisture for all the creatures there. So we've driven around a few times, and both Seb and I were like, oh look, there's grass growing in there already, which is quite amazing, isn't it, to see a bit of bright green in this very dry winter. I think it is wonderful to just appreciate sometimes, like we said, the bigger picture and see that everything happens for a reason, and it's a very intricate system where things happen, and everything that happens will have some sort of reaction. So wonderful. Interesting. Right, let's carry on down this road, see if perhaps Shadow is around here. We would hope for her to be. I wonder if that's good. It looks like a little oasis of grass over there. Right. I want to see if perhaps Shadow will be on one of the termite mounds. Lots of old termite mounds around here, and it seems like her and the cub also enjoy it. And I wonder if it's a trait that these two mothers are passing on to their cubs, because both Tamba and little Shadow's cub seem to love going on top of the termite mounds. Let's see. Whew. Sorry, seems like this road is quite dusty, so it's making me sneeze a little bit. Alright, so no tracks here just yet, but the road is still long and up ahead, so I'm also just keeping an eye out on all of the trees and the marulas. Now, I think somebody was asking about the marula bark earlier on, so if we come to Violet, you were asking about the marula trees earlier on and their bark. So there are some marulas not too far that I can see in the distance, so hopefully we'll be able to have a bit of a closer look at the bark of the marula while we search for some leopard tracks. Now we've got a beautiful marula here. There we go. So we can look at the beautiful bark of the marula tree. Now, the bark of the marula tree is very characteristic, if I can put it that way. And let me just show you why. I'm really hoping Shadow's not going to come out from behind this termite mound. So, easy way to describe it, and I don't know who came up with this description, but once you manage to see it, it's a good way of making it stick in your head. Imagine that there was a very smooth bark of the tree that's been hit by golf balls, and then it carries on cracking, so there are little breakages all around the bark. So there's a very similar species of tree called the forest marula, and if you look at the bark, it somewhat looks like the bark of the marula, but the little holes or the little circles and shapes on the bark are slightly smaller. Now, the marula is not the sturdiest of trees, so that's why often we'll see elephants that will come with their tusk and they'll try to break open the bark and get to that very red layer underneath the bark, the living layer, because the bark in every tree, that's the non-living layer that pretty much sustains and protects everything that's underneath it. So straight underneath the layer there will be the cambium layer, that very red layer that we see when elephants have been eating or breaking down a tree, and that's where all the good stuff is. And it's a layer where we'll have the phloem and the xylem, the two layers that swap the nutrients, and they bring the food and the sugars from the leaves all the way down to the roots, and then the water from the roots all the way back up onto the leaves. Now, in terms of traditional uses, I think the most common thing that the bark is used, it's not, like I said, it's not the sturdiest of trees to make ornaments or anything, but they are great for caterpillars. So when the caterpillars, especially in summer, when they're moving around and they get underneath your clothes, you get this horrible rash, and it's happened to me a few times because you drive around or you walk and you don't see them hanging from the trees. Now, to cure the rash, the bark of the marula tree is probably one of the best things that there is around here. Very, very beautiful species of tree, and I'm sure you've heard all about it. We can make so many things out of marula. Beer, jam, some people even eat the leaves, cook them as spinach in certain areas. What else? Well, elephants absolutely love it. As we all know, marulas are definitely one of their favorite because of that wonderful, very nutritious fruit. And funny enough, we've been seeing a few squirrels eating the nuts of the fruit that they bury during the summer season, and they're reaping their rewards now in winter, that there aren't too many things around. So, Violet, I hope this gave you a bit of a closer look of the bark of the marula. It is one of my favorite trees, and I think the name marula, I love it. It's wonderful. Right, too bad we didn't have Shadow and the cub on top of the marula there. That would have been first prize. But let's carry on our search. Who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky. Let's see around here. I love new roads. There's always something about exploring them. Seems like Taylor has left the animal party of zebras and giraffes, so let's go over to her and see if she finds herself a new fiesta.
No fiesta, no fiasco. Just yet. We're just driving about. We popped onto Triple M very quickly, just to have a look, but I think we're going to turn back into Djuma now on the next road and have a little scratch around here. Perhaps we'll take a drive on that new road and see if anything was moving around here. It's the Power Lines Road. I don't think we'll take the Power Lines Road. We'll go on the next one. I got excited though. There was an animal walking quite far down in the distance, and I thought maybe it was a big male lion or something walking on the road, or a leopard. It wasn't. It was just another zebra, but it was very, very far down. But there are a couple of cars in front of us, so I don't think by the time that we get there it will still be on the road. I think it would have run for its life and headed into the bushes where it will feel a lot safer. But it's quite funny coming down Triple M, because normally this road is littered with footprints of various animals, from civets to honey badgers to wild dogs and leopards and lions, and there doesn't seem to be too much activity on the road at all. Not even the odd hyena track. Hello Alana, who is only 5 years old. It's great to hear from you. Wondering if we pet the animals. As much as I'd love to stroke an elephant or tickle a lion underneath its chin, unfortunately we can't because they're all wild, so we would never be able to get close enough to them. Well, I say this, but you've seen the lions walk right past me right next to the cars, and the leopards do it, and the elephants come right up to us. But that's just because I have this relationship with the vehicles now, and it's a non-threatening relationship, but it's also they don't benefit from us at all, so it's not like we're giving them something. They just sort of ignore us and go about a day. Sometimes they throw tantrums when we're around, other days are better days. But no, we can't pet them, and it's very important that we don't sort of make these animals tame in the sense that they become used to people. Otherwise you'll find yourself in all sorts of trouble. So we leave them, they're completely wild, which is quite nice. Right, let's take this road over here. I'm actually sad that the elephants aren't around. I look forward to the return of the breeding herds. I wonder for how much longer we're going to have to wait. Maybe we get to see that really cool breeding herd that we had those amazing sightings with a few weeks ago. Like that young female, she was really funny with a kink in her tail. It kept us all entertained and on our toes. She really did love the camera. It's quite nice though that we start seeing these different elephants, and they've all got very different features, and we're able to sort of tell the difference between them, which is quite cool. I like that. So it gives us something to look forward to when they do return, see if we can spot some of our favorite elephants. But it seems as though the gremlins are jumping on board, so we're going to go and find the new road now. I'm going to send you back across to Ali to see if she's perhaps got any more trees that she'd like to tell you about.
Well, seems like there aren't too many tracks on this new road that we're on, but who knows, hopefully once we get to the main road, if I can even call it that, we'll get something there. For you guys that are interested, it does seem like there was a leopard that was found somewhere in Sydney's dam, a male, so it could be, I'm sure they'll let us know later. He's a bit far away, so we can't really have a view. It's fine, I've finished doing the new road. So it seems like either Tingana or perhaps Mbula. Mbula has been hanging all around that area between Sydney's Dam and Timbuktu Dam, always playing around on the northern side of Djuma. So I wonder if it's actually not him that's around. Unfortunately, he is far from the boundary, so we won't be able to have a look at him. But do not despair. I think we've had a very good morning so far. Right, now with the glare of the sun, sometimes I think that I can see tracks, and then you look properly, squint a little, and then we realize that that's not quite the case. So I think maybe let's go right. Perhaps we should explore this area, as we haven't seen it. We can see what other beautiful species of tree we get around here. I think the trees are looking a bit sad at the moment. Not many of them have got beautiful leaves, or everything is turning yellow and dry. So sometimes maybe we should actually try this road tomorrow morning when there's all that moisture in the air. The trees, it almost seems like they get charged with like extra amount of color because the light is a bit different. So maybe we should come around here, because I'm seeing a lot of orange around us. But maybe during the morning it'll be slightly better and a bit more dramatic for us to enjoy. And by dramatic, I just mean more colorful. Maybe the trees and the leaves will seem a bit punchier than what they are now. Now I can just see Impala trucks on the road. And I see, where should we go, Sam? Should we carry on straight?
Yeah.
Straight it is. Many options around here. Alright. Hoping for tiny little birds as well. Maybe there will be something else around here. Seems like not too many elephants have been walking around today. I think we got quite lucky with that herd that we saw in the morning, and I was super thrilled because, like we said, we haven't been seeing elephants all that often, and it's always good to catch up with old friends, especially that half-trunk herd. I think last time I saw her was even before I went on leave, so it's been about a month or so. Alright, let's see what there is around here. Some dwarf mongoose would also be quite nice. We haven't seen them for a few days. Or even the ground hornbills, because we've seen them around here quite often. I think maybe I'm gonna make it my mission for this afternoon to go and check on that big jackalberry, see if perhaps they have actually been roosting there, perhaps even nesting. But I think that's a mystery that we'll have to solve during this afternoon's drive. Because we left that area this morning because everyone was busy tracking around there, so we didn't want to get in the way of people that had tracks and were looking for different things. And I think it proved to be a good thing, because then they eventually found them. Now, what am I looking at here? Nothing, just vehicle tracks. Alright. I think now, every time that I see a termite mound, I'm hoping for Tamba or Tandi or Shadow and the Cub to be in there. I think everyone was also in the area where Tandi and Tamba, well, where just Tamba was left yesterday, but no tracks. So it is possible they are somewhere in the drainage line. Because they can very easily just move all the way down in that drainage line and then cross somewhere else without ever having to step on a road. So I wonder if that's perhaps what they did, or if Tamba's going to be around again this afternoon, because not too many leopard tracks were seen this morning. I think Taylor had some tracks seen on Mvuvu, not too far from where the lions were. Alright. Maybe there's a leopard. I want to find out what's happening. Sorry, Tax, can you confirm the lock of that Ingwe for me, please? Sorry guys, I just want to doing a lot of Hook, but we're not sure if it's Buffelshoek Dam or just on Buffelshoek itself. So I'm gonna try to chat to the guys on the radio and find out what's happening. Taxon, Prally Taxon. Tax, sorry, where is that Ingwe lock running? Tax, can you confirm where that Ingwe lock is currently running for me, please? Okay. Okay, copy. What is the lineup there? Okay, copy. Right, it seems like perhaps there has been another leopard that has been found at Buffelshoek Dam. So we're trying to find out what the lineup is there. Perhaps we can go and have a look and see who it is that's been around there. Hello, Impala. And we'll have to slowly start making our way in that general direction. Alrighty. Not too much around here. I wonder if everyone knew that the lions were walking around. Could be a reason why everyone seems to have gone away. Alright. Seems like the lineup for that leopard, which I wouldn't be surprised if it was, you know, or last minute leopard. It seems like there's an overload of vehicles in that area in general, so hopefully they'll be able to make a spot for us. I am going to move in the general direction just in case. However, I think there's quite a lot of stuff going on. So, interesting. I'm going to try and find out what's happening on the radio. But while I do that, let's go over to Taylor and see what her plans are for the rest of the morning.
we've had a very good morning so far. I hope that you do make it into that Tingana sighting. Ali, that'll be quite nice. Last minute leopards, our favorite kind of leopards. So I think for now, we're just going to bumble about and see what pops in front of us. I wouldn't mind trying to have a look at some birds. Yesterday we were chatting about finding a couple of birds that some of you would like to see. Maybe some LBJs. We didn't get a chance to see them, and I think this is a nice time of the day to try and find some birds, and we're in a good area, so we'll have a look. I'll see if I can see any fluttering movements in and amongst the trees, and then we shall point the camera towards it, and hopefully one of them will hang about. I did see some chin spot batis this morning actually, which was quite nice, but they didn't sit still for long enough for me to show you. Actually, oh, sorry, I've just had something fly into my eye now, and it's stabbing my eyeball. That's not good. Okay, the stabbing has subsided for now. I have a picture I want to show you. Well, most of you know one of my favorite birds has to be the secretary bird, and I had a really cool secretary bird sighting while I was on holiday. I just want to find one photo for you. It was really quite nice. Where is it? There we go. No, that's not great. I have to find a good one now. The pressure is on. It's so difficult to try and spot. Yes, this one is good. You zoom in a little bit. Look. Have a look at that. Now hopefully the angle will be okay. We'll just try and see. No, which way? Can't see anything. It's very dark. Okay, no, this is not working, unfortunately. Oh well. Well, there's a secretary bird, many secretary bird photos on my camera. That's a pity. It's obviously just with the glare, it makes it very difficult, unfortunately, trying to see these new cameras and not being able to see on the monitor itself. But so yes, so that was quite nice. I saw, like I said yesterday, I saw lots of new cool birds, some new ones, which was nice. And then the secretary bird was my favorite. So many Corey bustards. Now that I finally managed to spot them, I can't get away from them. They seem to be everywhere. So what we're going to find, I'd like to get those chin spot batis on camera. I don't think I've ever had them on camera before. Maybe some chugras, some brown crown chugras. They're around. I've been hearing them singing quite a bit. Some prinias, sticulars, maybe even a crombeck, grey penduline tit. That would be quite nice, our smallest bird. I'd like to show you one of those. I don't know if you've ever seen a grey penduline tit before. Let's check here. And seeing as though we're on Philemon's cut line, maybe we can just pop past that old hyena den and see if there's anything going on. Let's keep going around here. Actually, let's try and make that our goal. Let's try and get to the hyena den. They have to be around here somewhere, because the amount of tracks that we were seeing this morning, they weren't just adult hyenas. It looked like there were some youngsters, and I showed you there was that younger hyena track as well from yesterday afternoon. I seem to have a tickle in my throat as well as something in my eye. I don't know what's got in my eye. So they must be around here. I don't think they'd be traveling extreme distances. There wasn't much activity where we've just come from now. So everything seemed to be happening around Quarantine, and then around Vubu Road, even Central, Gary Cut Line, and then towards Gallagher Shortcut again as well. Let's check here. No, not much hyena activity. Some zebra tracks. So speaking of the hyenas, Michael, you're wondering, do I think, whoa, did you just make, there was a lilac-breasted roller that just landed right down next to the car. There, you can see it just flying off into the distance. I thought that it was going to catch a delicious thing. Sorry, Michael. Michael, your question was, do you think that they've just moved to a hyena den that's perhaps not next to the road? I think so. I think that's exactly the case. There's a bird here that's calling. Where is it? It's a black-headed oriole. I'm going to try and find, oh, there it is. You see it right on the top of that tree, quite far away. It's just the top of a bush willow. I think there's another one coming in too. It's got a beautiful call. You see it? Right at this big tree. Sorry, I can't stretch my hand. I've got little arms, they don't reach. There it is. Hello, beautiful. Have a little listen to its call as well. that a beautiful tune? And they're also quite territorial, just as the drongos are. You often actually see disputes between drongos and orioles. That was a quite nice one to see. So, just to go back to the hyenas, I just got distracted there. I thought I'd better do some birding. I think they're living down here, to be honest. I still think that they're using some of these massive termite mounds that we don't really have access to with the cars. It's quite difficult to get in there, but as soon as we start doing more bushwalks, we'll definitely go through and have a proper look around there. But there's some really big termite mounds, and where they are, well, not they are, they have been using dens down there before, and they'll probably just move around here. But last night there was just so much commotion. All I could hear was just sand, animals running in the sand. And I knew it was the hyenas because obviously all their tracks were around. And I even had sent a voice note to my mom last night on the hyenas. One was whooping, it sounded like right outside the gate, so it was echoing in camp. It was really quite beautiful. Until you want to try and sleep, then it's not so beautiful anymore. Okay, so here's the road into the old hyena den, and straight away it looks like there's been a couple of cars coming through here. There's some tracks, but they don't look particularly fresh. Just triple check here. Let's just go in and have a look at what doesn't do any harm anyway. And you never know, they could just come back and start using this den again. And that can happen at any time, and we really wouldn't know. That's why we have to just keep searching and keep trying. We'll find them eventually. No, straight away I don't see any sign, but we'll go right up here. No. And here's the den. What was a den. As you can see, nothing is home. It's very quiet. Like I said, no real fresh tracks in here at all. So they must be living somewhere else. Let's do a complete loop though. We'll go all the way around. Maybe we get lucky and we see. Well, there's one or two tracks here that look like they could have been from last night, but not lots. Now, Tess, you're wondering how long do termites stay in the mound? I'm just going to quickly check here. Actually, it does look like somebody's been using it. If we have a look at that pathway going up, it looks a lot more compacted than it has for quite some time now. Looks like somebody's been walking in and out over there. So sorry, Tess, as we look at this termite mound, you're wondering how long do the termites stay in the mound for? They always look so empty. And that's just because we don't really spend much time with them at night, and it's also coming into winter now, so it's a lot cooler. But termites can live in a mound for up to about 50 years. It just depends on how long the queen lives. So if the queen is taken before the end of her lifespan, then the whole colony will die with her. Otherwise, they'll live out their days. But a lot of the time, the mounds are closed up and you don't necessarily get to see them hard at work. I think the best time to see when a mound is active or not is when we've had quite a bit of rain, sufficient rain for the termites to release their alates, so the winged termites or the flying ants, the princes and princesses of the future generations of termites. Then you can really see, because the whole mound just explodes, and especially that crepuscular period or twilight period of the day, and then you'll see them all just being released and just swarms of them coming out, which is quite nice. I wonder if they haven't been here, because now that I've come around this side, I can see, looks like they have been walking around this den. Maybe they just rested up here last night, but it doesn't seem to be too active. Okay, well, we'll keep an eye though. We'll keep coming around here and we'll keep checking and just seeing. Maybe it was just because there were quite a few people that had come in here this morning. There were a variety of sets of vehicle tracks. I think they just squashed all the fresh tracks coming in. That's good to know. We'll try again this afternoon, and then we'll also try tomorrow morning and just keep searching. Around we go. Let's go here. a nice day today. It's really great. This morning wasn't as cold as what it has been though. Quite nice coming back and not completely freezing. I didn't even have to put gloves on. How did you feel, Kat? Did you feel freezing cold? Not even at all. Oh yes, I keep forgetting to tell you, I do have a riddle for you, and Paul, you are wondering exactly that. I'm so sorry, Paul, I kept forgetting. Okay, here's my riddle. Are you listening carefully? It's a quick one. It's very quick. I grow down when I grow up. What am I? That is my riddle. Hashtag Safari Live very quickly, because I know we've only got a couple of minutes left before the show ends, as to what you think the answer to my riddle is. I grow down as I grow up. But like I said, you've got to get typing. 3.5 minutes left until the safari ends. So not much time at all. And see who's got their fingers working quickly this morning. Any answers yet? That's a tricky one. You've got to think about it, and then if you don't get it, you'll probably slap yourself across the knee going, am I going to stump all of you today? Maybe today will be the day that nobody gets the answer to my riddle. Remember, you're not allowed to be searching on the interweb either for the answers. You've got to use brain power. Who was walking here? There's some hippos that were going up and down here last night. Oh, Benji, you say a tree. Unfortunately, that is not the answer. I grow down when I grow up. It's tricky. It's quite clever. I think it's quite clever. Hugs, you say a roof. Did you say a roof or a roost? No, I shouldn't. Root? Oh, roots. Roots. Okay, no. Roots of a tree or something? Okay, no. Unfortunately, that's also not the answer. Ooh, I think I'm going to stump all of you. I'm so excited. Shirley, you say a carrot. No? Oh my gosh, I think I might win this one. I wonder if the girls in Final Control know the answers to this. I don't think they know the answers either. Alice, do you know the answer? Louis, you've said a duck. I'll give it to you, Louis. You get that one. A duck or a goose. I grow down when I grow up. So talking about the down feathers that you see on the little ones. So well done, Louis. You got me. I thought that maybe I'd got one in this. Got one this morning. And then Izzy, you also said that was a goose. So well done, Louis and Izzy and everybody else that guessed a duck or a goose, something along those lines. Very clever. You're all too smart for me. I'm going to have to figure out just a couple more riddles to try and stump you, because I'm not winning. Maybe some jokes. We'll maybe look for some of the corniest animal jokes that I can find as well. I think it will be quite a nice laugh. Wonderful. Okay, we're quite exciting. So it seems as though we're going to be extending the show slightly for you this morning. Ali is on her way to the Tingana sighting. I think she's almost there, so that's quite nice. So we don't just have 3.5 minutes left anymore. We might have a little bit longer to try and fit in that last minute leopard to continue, well, the great game viewing we've had over the last 2 days. We've had leopard Tumba and of course the lions last night, and we've had the lions this morning. All we need to complete it is of course a spotted cat. So come on, Ali, put your foot down on the accelerator and make sure that you get there as quick as you can. Wow, it's talking about putting the pedal to the metal. Let's go across to Madam Ali, who's racing off to Tingana.
Perfect. Oh, guys, so exciting. We managed to rush all the way here just to see this beautiful male just around, and it seems to be Tingana indeed. Whew, what a runaround he's given us this morning. But wonderful to see that he has actually been around. And good to see you, boy. And even at the very, very last minute, like, I think you earned your name just on this drive. The last minute leopard. Ah, wonderful to have a look at him. I think, well, thank you for giving us at least 2 minutes with you this morning. I think maybe he's been up in the area patrolling. He swapped direction from what we saw earlier on, because it seemed like he was heading somewhere else. But good to see that he's here and that he's so happily resting. I think he's been spending most of the
Oh, hello everybody, here's me just putting an earpiece away in a packet. Right, so it seems as though Ali unfortunately has got many gremlins attacking her today. And I wonder if she's going to find a spot. What bird was that? A somber green bull? Oh, okay. So it seems as though we're not going to get our last minute leopard. Well, I actually don't know if you got a quick glimpse of it, but nonetheless, at least you know where Sir Tingana is, and hopefully we'll be able to follow up a little bit later this afternoon. Perhaps the Nkuhumas will still be lying up, resting and waiting for us to watch them catch something. But thank you for joining us, and of course we hope you've had a great time, many laughs and smiles, and we look forward to seeing your pictures. We'll see you later this afternoon.